right, a quick riff. Here it is. Only Trump in Davos could have saved Europe from themselves. That's the subject of the riff. So, yes, as reported, President Trump gave one of his best ever speeches at Davos today. America first, vision of economic security. We're economic security at home, essential to preserve national security abroad. I love that theme. Almost a direct echo of Ronald Reagan 45-something odd years ago, when the U.S. badly outproduced the Soviet Union and made it impossible for communism to match our prosperity or our military. Most of the people of Davos will never admit it, but Trump's vision will save the West if they just stop yapping and let him do it. Of course, he said he would not be using force to deal with his worries about Greenland and the Golden Dome and saving the West. Here's the quote: "I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force." He said that about midway in his speech. The idea that Donald Trump or the U.S. would have somehow opened fire on its allies could only be conjured up by some completely whacked out far left-wing media crazies who've been trying to stir up trouble for weeks over really a very serious matter, and that is protecting the U.S. and the Western Hemisphere and the NATO alliance from the encroachments of Russia and China, especially the threats of ICBMs and nuclear weapons. If you take a look at any map, you'll see that Greenland is really part of the Western Hemisphere, or the potential missile overshoot from Moscow to Washington, D.C., flying over Greenland. And going back to his original Truth Social announcement, for days I've been quoting Mr. Trump's words that the United States of America is immediately open to negotiation with Denmark and or any of these countries. But no one wanted to listen to me. No one wanted to read what he wrote. No one wanted to quote it. So you got insane news headlines. This morning's, I think it was this morning's Wall Street Journal, the front page: "The U.S. has lost its way." Or Axios blathering on about the end of a U.S.-led global order. Look, alliances may change. Alliances may change. But this stuff was over the edge. Several times in today's Davos speech, by the way, Mr. Trump repeated his willingness to negotiate. And sure enough, shortly afterwards, after meeting with Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, Mr. Trump announced we have formed the framework for a future deal with respect to Greenland and, in fact, the entire Arctic region. It's the art of the deal, and it will be a great deal for all NATO nations, Mr. Trump wrote. He'll not impose tariffs that were scheduled to go into place February 1st. J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio will be working on all this with Steve Witkoff. It's the art of the deal. Stock markets rallied big time. Trumpian leadership, once again, saves the day. He also, just want to add this, he talks some more about the importance of economic growth and why it does not cause inflation. It's important. It sheds some light on his forthcoming announcement for a future Fed chairman. So I'll just wrap by saying today was a virtuoso performance. I'm going to have to say it again. Whatever the Europeans think or don't think, Donald Trump and his America First policies are the only thing that will save them from themselves. That's my riff. Woof. Got that right out.